Right, going to Knoxville this weekend. Got a great opportunity, great challenge, obviously, playing in an incredibly hostile environment this weekend. There'll be a lot of excitement around the game and being on prime time. It's right on time. So Tennessee, as you all know, incredibly explosive on offense. They're second in the country in scoring offense, 46 points a game, third in total offense, over 500 yards a game. Historically speaking, for their program through 8 games, I think this is the second most points they've scored through 8 games in the history of their program. They're averaging 51 points a game at home in their 4 games. And within the conference, they lead the conference in scoring at 38 yards or 38 points a game. Fourth down conversions, they're tops in the conference. And they are really disruptive on defense. 27 sacks, are third in the conference and 6th in the country. And 7.8 tackles for loss a game. They lead the SEC in turnovers with 14 and lead the country in defensive touchdowns with 5 of them. They've also outscored their opponents. They lead the country in their total points in the first quarter. They've scored 121 points in the first quarter. Joey Aguilar's done a fantastic job. He's helped their offense just be incredibly efficient and explosive. He's thrown the deep ball with great accuracy, and he's allowed them to kind of stay on schedule really through all 8 games. He's been fantastic for them, and they've got excellent receivers led by Chris Brazel. 2 years ago, I think he transferred there, but he's big, long, fast. They got 3 guys that can really go up and get it, and then Deshaun Bishop is an excellent running back, tough, physical, really good. Defensively and offensively, they've got both coordinators back, and Tim Banks and Joey Halsey, and they're just doing a fantastic job. They got a really good football team right now, and going to present a great challenge for us.
Start with Mason Young. Yeah, Brent, when you got a quarterback in John that's kind of having some ups and downs, I'm curious, how much do you sit down with him and watch film, and what's kind of the head coach's role in helping a quarterback get back on track?
Yeah, just get your arm around him, talk open and honest with him, and try to help him manage the burden of expectations and the burden of responsibility. Certainly everything goes through the quarterback. I've said this a lot. You playing good people, you can't have a quarterback that plays poorly and expect to win, but you don't have to play perfect and win either. You just have to be able to manage the game well, and for the most part, he's done a really good job of that. We're 6-2. The success that we've had have been because he's done a great job at playing well at all the right times, and then again collectively around him, we gotta play better as well to help him. But you're always. I've talked to him from the beginning of the day to the end of the day when we cross paths, both here in the building and out on the practice field. And, what the defense is doing, where the weak spots are, things of that nature. But my biggest role is in trying to support him and help him, manage the responsibility from a leadership standpoint. And I'm always talking with all of our players just about, the lens that you need to have from an offensive and defensive perspective at their, relative to their positions. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brent, I heard you talking Sunday just about how unique Kendall Daniels' impact has been coming in as a transfer. How impressive has his continued development been, especially the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, he's really accelerated, and you don't always see that. Maybe it's not as apparent to the naked eye, but it has been with him. His preparation and his detail, his passion, his energy, his physicality, and the fundamental things that he's getting better at have been things that have stood out, to us. And Coach Goodwin's done a great job helping him attack some areas that he needed to improve, and then he's made the decision to do that. He's a great practice player. His teammates love him. He's really been prepared and ready for whatever we've asked him to do. He's been really good on special teams as well. So he's he's right on schedule for your last year. You should be playing your best ball your last year and continuing to improve as well as as a developmental game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brent, we've got a big picture college football question for you. There's been an abnormal amount of quick trigger firings among head coaches this season at major programs, some in the SEC. You saw Oklahoma State, Penn State. I'm wondering, do you think it's a result of the new college football landscape and maybe less patience that programs have to build this thing up, or what do you maybe attribute to some of these mid-season firings, I guess?
Yeah, and I'm not privy to the details of those individual cases, but yeah, this is an anxious time, exciting time, and an anxious time in college football. And there's never been as much disruption as there is today. And every university and fan base, the university-wise, from an administration and leadership, they have their own set of standards and priorities. And so from a fan perspective, man, everybody, they want a piece of that action, and I get it. You see too many programs that have been able to have some success, immediately, and then there's been a lot of programs been disrupted that maybe have been used to a level of consistency that maybe they're not experiencing right now. So just an anxious time, a lot of emotion in the moment, and college football has never lacked for emotion and passion. And so I think you're seeing a little bit of that. But as far as those individual cases, I really don't have an opinion, only because I'm not privy to the information, on case by case. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, following up on that, Brent, you personally, you're involved in this too. I mean, you're at a place that has high expectations. Yeah. What's your interaction with the guys who would make that decision, and
what's my interaction?
And what's going on in terms of their expectations and your status and all those things in the context of this crazy fever we seem to be in?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to maybe ask them. Otherwise, I have constant communication, great support, great guidance, great structures that are in place to help us be successful.
Brent, wanted to ask you about your special teams. We've seen really good moments from them throughout the year.
Who's that?
The special teams.
Yep.
We've seen really good moments from them throughout the year, but the last few weeks maybe a few costly penalties, especially on returns. Just how do you guys go about cleaning that up, and how have you seen Coach Deacon maybe attack some of those issues? Yeah, I mean,
the way you affirm success, same thing. You're always looking for opportunities to teach, and the penalty, obviously, that we had. I know I spoke about this a couple of times, but put us in a tough position coming out of our own end zone, and then we followed it up with another penalty after a positive play coming off the end zone prior to the safety. And but the fumbles, something that's you always hate, and so you say, how do you avoid that? And Isaiah is doing a great job hanging on to the ball. The guy, just ripping and ripping and ripping at it. I look at, how did that guy get there? And whose man was that? That's what I look at. And that's something that we can control. And we can certainly control ball security as well. We emphasize that every day. And we costly, turned into 3 points there. Big opportunity to teach and learn, and we certainly did that. You hit it right head on and have great communication, great trust. You put the guys in the same position. We got, after the safety, we had a backed up kickoff, and they got a nice return, past our 50, that also set up another field goal. So there's a cumulative effect to the penalty, to the procedural issue when we're not lined up on the line of scrimmage after we got off the goal line, and then we get the safety, and then we kick off, and then we have a couple of young guys that got pinned, and they circled the kickoff team and had a nice return there that set up another field goal. So, you're looking at, an 8-point, issue at the end of the day. As a result of those special teams plays, with the fumble turning into 3 points. And really, we're going to get the ball at midfield and have a chance to score. We had tremendous momentum. Had just taken the lead. And so really costly, on both of those special teams, really 3 special teams miscues. And to your point, we've been good, but there's been the penalties. Man, we've got to eliminate those. And so there's a fundamental thing to all of it. We were actually misaligned. I had a player that was a backup that got in the game and really was misaligned. Wasn't supposed to be over there, and so we double team a guy and we pull him to the ground, and that's how that happened. So you just got to hit it head on. I think if there's anything that's taken out of this last weekend, and this is not a last weekend thing, but it's I think for our guys through the failure and losing, that every single play in the game has magnitude. You don't know when those plays are. It's not always the 4th and 5 at the end of the game. That play's important too, but there's so many other plays, early in the game, middle of the game, that have tremendous magnitude. So everybody has a job to do. You need to be able to execute it at a really, really high level, because it all adds up. Everything matters. Mm-hmm.
Brent, after the Auburn game, it didn't sound like you were worried about the way Courtland was going to bounce back and the way that he played against the Rebels. How important was that for him and for the secondary as you go against the Tennessee trio? Yeah,
and they're not the only ones that are a part of it. But we had 10 PBUs in last weekend's game, and Courtland was excellent. He had a really good game, was physical, was coverage, technique, and fundamentals were really good. I always look at, the alignments and how we start the play from a positioning and a leverage standpoint. Where are we at? Are we in a great position or not? Because if you're going to win late, you typically need to win early within the down. And he was as consistent, probably the most consistent guy that we had, but plays really strong through the end of the play when you're talking about defending the pass. And so he was really good. And there's, again, Robert, we had the double move into the boundary that they got. We had a zone concept that, we're supposed to push our coverage, and we didn't. And they hit one late over the middle, which we had been pretty good all day in that regard. The first drive, we were late getting there, closing the middle of the field, and they hit a 25, 28-yarder that they tried the first play of the second half, and we defended very well, almost had a safety on the play. And then they ran a little flood concept to one of the sidelines that we have 3 defenders, and the second-level defenders just got to sink a little further. I think they dumped it over his head for about a 30-yarder on the sideline there. But otherwise, the secondaries, there's a lot of good things to build on. We're going to be challenged, and again, in maybe a whole different way this week from a scheme standpoint, personnel standpoint. Again, back-to-back weeks of really excellent receivers, skill, and quarterback play. But, again, I love the guys, from where we started the season to where we're at now. Eli's getting into a good rhythm as well, and Jacoby got in and did some good things. Day got in, and he did some good things as well as Courtland and our safeties.
Brent, you, of course, know Seth Littrell real well. Now you're facing him. He's on the other side. What do you think that dynamic will be like on Saturday?
I don't think there'll be any kind of dynamic between Seth and I. I haven't spoken to him in a long time, but he's doing a great job, obviously, being a part of the offensive staff and the success that they've had this year. But it's never about, 2 people. This is a player's game and not a coach's game. But he's doing great. He landed right on his feet.
Second row, Davis. Yeah, Brent, you kind of talked about the secondary. And Tennessee likes to pass the ball a lot, like Ole Miss. What can you take from last week and apply it to Tennessee?
Yeah, you're always learning every single week. Every week teaches you about the game, about, starting every play with a great alignment, great stance, great eyes, great feet, understanding where your help is, all of those things. So plenty to learn and carry over, the success, some of the mistakes that we made. And now the challenge is you're on the clock to learn a new DNA and new concepts and things of that nature. And, your coverage is always tied to your front and vice versa. And, but our guys are going to be ready to, for the challenge of this week and, the enormity of what's in front of them. I know they're looking forward to it and having a good week of practice and being as prepared as we can be.
Second row right side, Joe Masato. Yeah, Brent, how have you seen Ben Arbuckle sort of navigate the ups and downs of the offense and just kind of the inherent pressure that comes with being an offensive coordinator?
Yeah, just head on, tough-mindedness, always a good, honest evaluation, self-analysis of, what's good, what isn't, what we need to do, what we need to lean on, what we need to protect. Very, very thorough and very straightforward, ultra consistent, in his approach, his passion, his energy, his toughness, the details, the discipline, those types of things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Coach, is there a certain way that you could prepare for trying to defend explosive plays, or just does that come down to just guys winning their matchups and the little details like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could. Yeah, there's lots of things that you can do. You don't know when they're coming, always, obviously, what concepts and things of that nature are coming, but you can sit back and put everybody, protect them on the goal line, and that sounds like a good plan, but then they throw the ball underneath, and it turns into a short catch, turns into an explosive play. We had 5 of them on offense, and they had 8, including a couple of runs. And when actually this year, I think last year we were in the 70s in the country in explosive plays given up, and this year we're top 5 in the country, least amount of explosive plays. So we've made a tremendous amount of improvement. And as I pointed out, some of those plays were the explosive plays I was talking about, and where we need to be a little better. This is football. They're going to always be a part of it. You want to limit them. That's the ideal. Teams that win the explosive play battle are going to give themselves an opportunity to win the game. And that's not certainly the only category, but one that we put a lot of time on staying on top of the football, both in run defense and pass defense.
Back to Courtland, not just this past weekend, but how have you seen him kind of respond from that Auburn game, these last few games in SEC play, and what does that kind of say about his mentality and his approach?
Yeah, just he didn't flinch. He took responsibility. Certainly was disappointed, but he didn't waste the pain, the suffering, the moment of failure. Didn't waste it. He took full advantage to get better. Looked it right in the eye. Took responsibility. Corrected the mistakes. Received the coaching. Looked his teammates in their eyes and said, "Man, that's on me. I'm gonna get better." And so, just making a decision that he's gonna fight back, and I'm not surprised at all. That's exactly who we thought we recruited, and he's been fantastic.
The Tennessee defense forced 14 turnovers this year. What have you seen prepared from that's just made them so good at?
Just really aggressive. They're really aggressive. They're physical. That's typically how it happens. They've done a good job getting hands up, batting balls, but they have an aggressive approach.
Brent, the attention to detail this weekend, especially with Josh. You know Josh really well, but his offense with the chunk plays, all 3 receivers over 30 yards and things like that. You can't have the offsides on defense and things like that. So talk about the attention to defense.
Let me write that one down, James.
Huh?
Can't have the offsides on defense. Well noted.
But talk about Josh and his involvement, because it seems like he's really evolved as an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's really good. He's got great instincts. He understands his personnel. He understands defense as much as he understands offense. Probably even more. And he's done a good job of putting a team together on the offensive side of the ball. And he's got an aggressive approach. And even from last season, structurally and what they do, there's been some evolvement. So I think, if anything, if you ask kind of a broad and an immediate moment question, I would say just kind of the outside looking in, watching him over, through the years in different places, that he's always evolved, and he's on to the next best thing for what his team needs. Where maybe they lacked from a previous season, he's worked hard to attack it and try to make those areas, better, things that he can influence. So whether that's personnel or it's scheme or it's a pace, but he's well attuned to what they want to do. As a play caller, you can tell he's played the game. How he wants it to go. Over and over and over as he calls the game. So just done a fantastic job.
Anything else? Thanks, Brent.
All right, y'all have a great day.